This is the 2026 Annual Meeting President's Report. The report is read by Bradly Oulton, a Calista intern with ties to Toksook Bay and Bethel.
On June 5th in Bethel, Alaska, Calista Corporation President and CEO Andrew Guy presented the following President's message at the 52nd Annual Meeting of Shareholders. Today, we will focus on Calista's goal to sustainably develop and protect Calista's natural resources. This includes both our renewable and non-renewable resources. Sustainable development ranges from gravel pits in many YK communities, the Pilcher Mountain Quarry in Marshall, to the potential Donlin Gold Project. While protecting our natural resources takes many forms, from commenting on proposed military flight altitudes to providing airfare for shareholders to testify in Board of Fish meetings. Working on this goal, Calista takes a broad look at potential impacts to our environment and way of life. In every case, with proper planning and permitting, development and protection can work alongside each other. Our people understand that we will always continue to rely on subsistence activities. That belief and dedication continues with Calista's leadership, both past and present. Because we are stewards of our land and resources, we take a careful approach toward mineral exploration and development. The history of the Donlin Project demonstrates this. After our early leaders selected the Donlin land area, the first thing Calista leadership did to prepare for development was to patiently and carefully do its homework. We waited for about 20 years before signing an exploration agreement. And those exploration and studies have been going on for over 30 years. Beyond gathering information, Calista has also been sharing information about Donlin. In 2004, the board officially established the Shareholder Relations Committee. The purpose of the committee is to provide information about Calista and Donlin while providing an opportunity for our shareholders to ask questions and express concerns about the project. Our goal is to visit 10 to 20 YK villages each year. Even with that schedule, it can take 3 years or more to get to each community. Since 2004, the committee has held over 200 meetings in different locations with you, our shareholders. Calista has been active in sharing information about Donlin from the beginning. The potential of gold in the Donlin area was mentioned in the very first annual report. And updates on Donlin have been in every issue of the annual report for at least the past decade. We have also featured and highlighted Donlin in multiple Story Knife newsletters. About 10 years ago, Calista launched our email newsletter to extend our reach to more shareholders. Additionally, we have extensive information on our website. And we have often traveled with Donlin Gold team members when they visit villages. After selecting the Donlin lands in the 1970s, and as we said earlier, we did our homework, our due diligence. We accomplished this by closely watching other mining projects and the application of the National Environmental Protection Act. One huge mining project is the Red Dog mine in the Nana region. In 2015, the University of Alaska Fairbanks published a study that looked at the 25 years of Red Dog mine operations. One fact that UAF found was that after 25 years of mining operations, there were more fish spawning in the Red Dog area compared to before the mine opened. One of the reasons was that the water discharge from the mine is heavily cleaned. Not only were there more fish spawning, there were more flowers, shrubs, and vegetation. The researchers at UAF also found other benefits. One major benefit was graduation rates for the youth. From 1970 to 2005, high school graduation rates in the Nano region grew faster than all other rural areas in Alaska. In fact, graduation rates grew faster than cities like Anchorage, Fairbanks, and Juneau. Here is another way we made sure there is always a voice from you, our people, Donlin Subsistence Committee. As currently named, the Subsistence Community Advisory Committee is a subgroup of the Donlin Advisory Technical Review and Oversight Committee, or DATROC. The DATROC is composed of Calista Corporation, the Kuskokwim Corporation, and Donlin Gold leadership and staff who work together on issues related to environmental protection, reclamation, subsistence, and community concerns and priorities. The Subsistence Committee meets at least twice a year and provides input to DATROC. Calista, TKC, and Donlin Gold approved the committee's geographic expansion beyond the Kuskokwim to coastal and Yukon communities, based on committee feedback after a meeting held in Aniak in May 2023. You can find Donlin and Subsistence Committee articles at calistacorp.com. The Subsistence Committee has seats plus alternates for each seat that encompass the entire Calista region and beyond. Each member brings a unique perspective, knowledge, and community-based issues to the table. The members from different parts of the region participate in different kinds of subsistence activities and have a mix of supportive, neutral, or skeptical views on the Donlin project. Regardless of their position, the committee members agreed at a December 2025 meeting that they want to make sure subsistence resources are protected for future generations. In addition to the Subsistence Committee, Calista leaders made sure there was a hiring preference for our people. One of the best features of the Donlin Gold project are the people currently working there. Last year, people from 19 YK communities were hired to work at Donlin. In 2024, they came from about 20 villages, and in 2023, they came from 23 villages. Most are tribal members and Calista shareholders. Here are two Calista shareholders who worked at the Donlin camp recently. Pictured on the left is Cynthia Yvonne, with ties to Akiak. She appreciates that she was given an opportunity to use her training skill set. On the right is Bert Johnson, with ties to Juathbalak. Working in the kitchen at the Donlin site, he likes to incorporate our foods like a gudak. Pictured here is Louis Tai, with family connections to St. Mary's. He appreciates the flexible work schedule that allows him to work for 2 weeks at the Donlin site and then go home for 2 weeks for subsistence activities. With so many Calista shareholders working at Donlin, the pay has allowed them to afford the high costs of living here in the YK Delta. From paying utilities to buying subsistence gear, they are able to support their families. Let's review 7I, 7J revenue sharing, a key part of ANCSA. Revenue sharing only occurs from natural resource operations on ANCSA lands. According to the Alaska Native Village Corporation Association, or ANVCA, nearly 2/3 of village corporations surveyed said they need 7J to survive. They told ANVCA that 50 to 90% of their revenues are from 7J. Without revenue sharing, about 6 of every 10 village corporations would go bankrupt. For our region with 45 village corporations, that means about 27 of them would no longer be able to provide for their villages. For example, village corps are already struggling to have proper funding to purchase fuel. We can imagine what would happen when a village corporation does not have enough funds to purchase adequate supply of fuel and stove oil for its village. According to a 2022 study from UAA's Institute of Economic Research, from 2014 to 2020, 7 of every $10 in 7I revenue came from the Red Dog mine. That's equal to $129 million each year to all the village corporations. Again, as we saw in the last slide, This is a significant amount of funding benefiting our village corporation operations and ultimately our shareholders. And without this funding, 6 of every 10 village corporations would no longer be able to provide any benefits. Unfortunately, revenue sharing from Red Dog is declining. NANA projects that there will be about a 30% drop in zinc output by 2027. This means that 7i revenue is also expected to drop and eventually end around 2031. In the foreseeable future, there are no other ANCSA revenue sharing options aside from Donlin. Right now, Donlin is a possibility. The operators have not decided if they will go into construction and then production. But in the best case scenario, if the operator said yes this year, it could be nearly 10 years before production could begin. This is nearly a decade without any 7i, 7j revenue sharing replacing Red Dog. We've talked about sustainable development, so now let's talk about protecting our resources. It is a fact that no matter where a shareholder lives, subsistence is central to each of our lives. Because subsistence isn't just what we do as people, it's part of who we are. Our region continues to endure a historical crash of salmon, preventing us from living our Yuyarak to the fullest. So many causes contribute to the crash that solving it will not be easy or quick. There's no single solution, but we do know the health of the Yukon and the Kuskokwim rivers are not a major contributor of the declines. It is important to understand the potential solutions. Climate change must be addressed, but the impacts of any solutions would not be felt for many years or decades. However, we have a path to make meaningful impacts in the short and midterm to ensure the stability of our salmon runs. We can work together to make changes in the laws and regulations in the trawling and intercept fisheries. Unfortunately, there is strong opposition in the fishing industry and in the political world. We need to come out in force when the time comes to vote. Together, we need to change how our fisheries are managed. We must work with other Alaska Natives to combat the combined fishing industries in their efforts to have more access to fisheries, often at our people's expense. Our united voices as Alaska Natives have great power. At the last North Pacific Fisheries Management Council meeting, Native voices helped drive recent changes to chum bycatch. Yes, the deal was that struck did not go far enough, but our voices were heard and acted on. Calista is focusing on changes at the state and federal levels that can yield positive results for generations to come. We encourage all of you to reach out to elected officials and ask them to prioritize subsistence. We encourage all of our tribes to submit resolutions for the reduction of bycatch and intercept fisheries. We ask you to join us in asking them to commit to enacting laws and appointing officials who prioritize subsistence. Thank you for taking time to listen as we reviewed one of the 4 strategic goals the board adopted to sustainably develop and protect Calista's natural resources. On behalf of the board, management, staff, and Calista, Guyana for listening.